said, the reason I ran, the whole about tired of the bickering, that's political speech, right? I had nothing to do with writing that. That's what the political people write. I mean, it sounds good and everybody gets along with that. Honestly, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of political speech because you've heard it all before and everybody uses it. The reason I decided to run was fairly simple. There was an article in the, and I'm fairly apolitical, to be honest with you. I'm a registered Democrat, have been my whole life. But there was an article in the Lincoln Journal-Star about 2 weeks before the filing deadline, and the Democrats had nobody running in the 1st District. And Jeff Fortenberry was elected in 2004, and they put up, they went after him pretty good in 04 and 06, and then in 08 and 2010, there was just a name on the ballot for the most part. And I'm not putting those people down because it is a lot of work to even put your name on the ballot. But as a lawyer, I am friends, I guess, acquaintances with the people that run the state Democratic Party, Vince Powers and Vic Cobalt, who are civil lawyers. And I was kind of complaining about, can't you put somebody up, you know, to run? And I sent an email to Vic Cobalt, who was the state Democratic Party chair at the time. And I sent that on a Friday. It was and the filing deadline was that next Thursday. So I sent that out on a Friday. I'm like, can't you put somebody up? 3 hours later, I'm in the state party's office, and they're screening me to be a candidate, okay? So I had no political experience, and that was basically the screening process. Now it takes, the filing fee is 1% of the salary. And so a congressman gets paid $174,000 a year. So the next problem was I didn't have $1,700 sitting around, you know? And what happened the biggest reason I got involved is the biggest issue I have with Mr. Fortenberry, and I think he's a very nice man. I've talked to him a few times. I think he's a good family man. Certainly I disagree with him on some certain things. One of the biggest issues I have with Jeff Fortenberry is he is, and I don't want to get too much into the issues, we'll just sit there and talk about pro-life and pro-choice the entire time, which nobody wants to do. Mr. Fortenberry is a very devout Catholic, and that's great, you know. I'm not a devout Catholic. My opinion is, on his social issues, Jeff Fortenberry will vote like the Catholic Church wants him to, and that is his primary role in Congress, to be honest with you, which is fine if that's what people want. When it comes to the other issues, I believe Jeff Fortenberry is fairly moderate. You know, he doesn't say crazy things. He flies under the radar. You don't hear a whole lot of things, and he sounds fairly moderate. Certainly, he votes a lot of times in the Republican Party. But when it comes to social issues, gay marriage, Planned Parenthood, stuff like that, he is lock, stock, and barrel with the Catholic Church. And another thing that annoyed me about this was, at this point in time, if you remember back, the Catholic Church, there was protests about the Affordable Health Care Act and birth control, and the church was going to have to fund contraceptives and the various colleges and stuff like that. And Mr. Fortenberry was holding press conferences on that. And they kept bringing up this war on religion, which always irritates me, that one church says there's a war on religion, and I'm United Methodist, and just my church has a different opinion about that than the Catholic Church does. My church believes access to contraceptives is a good thing, and that it will reduce abortions. So when I was hearing there's a war on religion, that kind of irritated me, because there's all sorts of religions over here that you are ignoring that have a direct conflict with your Catholic Church. And I'm not trying to, my brother and my sister are Catholics, my grandmother's a devout Catholic, so once I got involved in this, we had some great discussions over dinner regarding my philosophies about the Catholic Church. So again, I'm not putting it down, it's just I have a different view of how religion should guide our politics. And I was known within the legal community of Lincoln, with the lawyers and stuff like that, but I hadn't been involved in any of these boards or anything like this. These 10% of the party, you end up pandering to them because they're going to be giving you the money. And if you come into a campaign and say, you know, I just want to work with others, they got a good point, you know, we should really talk about this. If you really go for this moderate approach, a lot of people, in my opinion, be like, you know what, that's reasonable. I'm going to give that guy $10. $10 doesn't cut it at all. So you end up, I'll bring up Dick Holland. Dick Holland is a multi-millionaire up in Omaha who is a very liberal Democrat who made his fortune off Warren Buffett, from what I understand. Dick Holland's against the pipeline. Dick Holland's he's a very social justice, liberal type of person, okay? Now, my views essentially fall in line for the most part, except he's probably a little more radical, I suppose. But you end up trying to get money from the multi-millionaires, you know what I mean? So therefore your message skews even further to the left or right, which obviously we saw with the Senate campaign, because everybody was trying to out-conservatize, I'm sure that's not a word, the other person. Regarding money, one of the biggest misconceptions that I had, and that I think almost everybody had, is, oh, you're the Democratic nominee, so the National Party is going to send you money, the state party will send you money, and people just start sending you money. That's not correct at all.